As October comes to a close, we're going to close the book on Sinister Kansas history. But not before we talk about the most requested story of Sinister Kansas history. One anyone who has been to Hays might be familiar with. Today, for Sinister Kansas history, we'll be discussing the story of Elizabeth Pauley, better known as the Blue Light Lady of Hays. On May 29th in 1864, a young 21-year-old woman by the name of Elizabeth Decker married a man named Ephraim Pauley. Later in their lives, they made their way to Fort Hays, where he was assigned to help. Whether she had formal nurse training or if she just was a kind soul, Elizabeth immediately began helping and taking care of the soldiers at Fort Hays. As a cholera epidemic swept through the area, Elizabeth was known for giving comfort and aid to all the soldiers who were there, those suffering from the disease, until she caught it herself and passed away. Her final request was to be buried at the top of Sentinel Hill, where she would love to take her walks. In order to help honor her wishes, they buried Pauley at the bottom of the hill and marked it with 4 fence posts to remind everyone of her service. But not long after the 4 fence posts were erected, they were stolen by 4 individuals. All 4 meet grisly deaths. 1 in a gunfight, 1 hit by a train, 2 of them killed in a buggy accident. As time goes on, stories begin being reported in and around Sentinel Hill. One of the first reported accounts occurs in 1917 as a farmer was working out of his field and saw a woman in a prairie dress and bonnet with a lantern going in and around the areas. He followed her up the hill, went into the shed where he saw her go, and she mysteriously disappeared. On a particularly foggy night in the 1950s, a Hays police officer was making his rounds in and around the Sentinel Hill area and reported seeing a woman in a blue bonnet with a lantern and hitting her with his car. When he got out of his vehicle, there was no damage and no woman, except for the faint blue light sitting on top of Sentinel Hill. Those who have seen the apparition talk about a blue light coming towards them, hearing the footsteps shuffling through the dirt, of the ghost coming closer and the features of her face becoming more distinguishable. As it gains closer, it slowly fades away, till nothing is left but the sound of the footsteps. Today on Sentinel Hill, there are many memorials to Hays' favorite ghost. And if you go there late at night, you might catch the light of a blue lantern.